Welcome to Let's Talk Brock.
Okay, hello, welcome to this episode of the Let's Talk Brock podcast. Today we are joined by Yunus, a graduate from the Bachelor of Kinesiology program. Yunus is now a strength coach and research assistant at the University of Illinois. He also works at a US Paralympic Training Centre. We are so excited to hear your story today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll hop right into those questions. So first, what made you choose Brock and how did you decide on kinesiology?
So Brock was one of my top choices when I was choosing universities. I played a lot of high-level sports growing up, and I sustained a lot of injuries. So I was always either going to physio or I was in the hospital. So being around healthcare workers was always kind of intriguing to me, seeing how they treated injuries and just the whole process and injury prevention and helping people get back to a normal way of life. So when I decided, like, okay, I'm clearly not going to do anything in sports, like every other kid wants to play sports, I decided, okay, like how can I stay involved in athletics? And it seemed that kinesiology was the best route for me. And I suffered a TBI when I was in my senior year of high school, so I had to redo my senior year. And luckily, as I was applying to schools, Brock was one of the schools that offered me an alternative offer. So I toured the schools that gave me an alternative offer, and Brock was definitely the one that felt more like home. You know, it's a mid-sized university, so it has all those resources. So it's got all these amazing resources that a big school would have, but it's all compact into this perfect package. So you're not having to fight for all those resources with a massive population of students. And then the kinesiology program was growing at that time. So they were just building the Cairns Family, the Cairns Family Biomedical or Bioscience Research Complex.
Yes.
I'm rusty. I haven't done any tours in a long time. So yeah. So I got a tour of that facility, and they told us all about all the resources that are going to be available for students and all the labs, and we would get access to those things as an undergrad. So that's the main reason why I chose Brock was all of those resources. And I got lucky enough that when I got to school, when I went to Brock for my first year, I accepted my offer for recreation and leisure studies, and my advisor, Michael Fox, helped me in our first meeting just create a floor plan to guide me into getting into kinesiology, and got me in contact with Katrina Benny, who's the lead advisor of the kinesiology department. I hope she still is, because she's amazing. And together we all kind of created my academic roadmap of what I was going to do. And over the course of like a year and a half, 2 years, I was able to get into the kinesiology program.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I remember you saying it took a few tries, but you persevered, you got through, and you actually ended up in Kin, and you graduated with that program. So that's amazing.
Yes, graduated with honors.
Honors, amazing. That's awesome. So share your favorite or most influential experiential learning opportunity through the Brock program, and did this help choose your current career path?
Yeah, so my most influential one, I was involved in quite a few, but I'm not going to talk about all of them. But my most influential one was my independent research projects that I did. So that started off with the Senior Fit program. So I took the Senior Fit class that's run by Dr. Kimberly Gamage, and that kind of pulled me away from the experiences I'd already had in working with sports teams early on in my undergrad, and it brought me into more. Sorry, that was my dog. Brought me into more of a, I won't say clinical, but it's very much like a rehab setting. You know, you're working with geriatrics, so it's a demographic that I wasn't familiar with. And basically I was a trainer there and working with them on a daily basis. You start off through that Senior Fit program, just walking around, getting used to creating rapport with people. And then you primarily work in the balance and gait area of the gym and helping these individuals improve their balance and gait and mitigate that fall risk that a lot of people end up developing as they get older, right? You start to think about falling, and falling can be a really serious thing as you get older. So that's where I started, and I fell in love with working with those clients. And I decided, like, okay, I'm not going to pursue sports anymore. Maybe I should work more towards this. And this may be even more applicable when it comes to things like going into physio or occupational therapy. And so I decided to take my independent research project with Dr. Gamage after I completed that class. And she allowed me to do a one-on-one, it's like a one-on-one intervention with a client. And I worked with that client for almost a year and helped them with very specific injuries that they were having. And I was able to get a lot of independence in working with that client, coming up with my own hypothesis when in reference to like the injuries that they had sustained, whether it was acute or chronic, and how am I going to treat those injuries, and am I going to be able to help this person get back to a normal way of life, and also if it's even possible to get them pain-free, right? Especially when that acute injury turns into chronic pain, that sucks. So you want to help that person get out of that. That project was awesome. That was like when I really decided, like, okay, I'm going to work with people no matter what, and I'm going to see if I can impact them in a positive way. That's what I want to do for a living. So that was definitely the one that was I would say the most beneficial and also the most influential when it came to my experiential learning. Yeah,
that's super cool. And that ties right into our next question, just that you work with a US Paralympic Training Centre. So can you tell us about your responsibilities there, and what's your favorite part about working there?
Yeah, so I have a long list of responsibilities there. I was able to get the job. I'll talk about this because I think it's important for students to realize that, like, I didn't just apply for the job and got it. I had a significant other here that lived in the United States, and she's actually a Paralympian. So I kind of got lucky that I had a start into getting my networking in. And as I would come to visit, I would volunteer at the training center. So I was just working for free. I gave them my credentials so that they knew that I was very well experienced and that I had something to offer. And then that, like, volunteering every couple of months turned into volunteering for 3 months straight. And then I just told them, hey, listen, I'm going back to Canada, but if there's an opportunity for you to want someone that, like, with my expertise to be a strength coach, let me know. And because of my credentials and experiential learning that I got at Brock, they were like, yes, we want you to come and work here. So when I started working there, I primarily only worked as a strength coach. But then when they hired me on, I took on some responsibilities as a research assistant. And that's like managing volunteers that come in to the Adaptable Training Center and helping those students get exposure and get experiential learning just like I did. Get them comfortable within the setting and get them comfortable with disability. Like, normalizing disability is really important because a lot of people are uncomfortable with it because they just don't understand. And in our society, it's not really something that's talked about, which is really unfortunate. So just getting them really comfortable, allowing them to form relationships with our student athletes and the students that come in to use the Adaptive Training Center. I also do a lot of, like, gym maintenance. So whether that's looking after equipment, cleaning it, making sure it's hygienic and stays clean, that's really important. I provide, like, wellness consulting for the student athletes. So if they have any, like, health concerns, they want advice on their general fitness and what they could be doing outside of the gym, I consult them with that and have meetings with them. And then I'm also a liaison between our US Paralympic Training Site and the USOPC, which is the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. So we have quarterly meetings with them, and every quarter I'll present them with, like, what are the things that our athletes are doing, what's our training look like, what type of plans the head coach has, like, made for us, because we have, like, a big master plan sheet that we all work off of. And then we also talk about money, which is kind of boring, but we talk about budget and we talk about some of the changes and objectives that we have for, like, the upcoming quarter, and grants and things like that we apply for and end up getting and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. So it's so cool to see how your experience at Brock got you to where you are. What's your favorite part about that position?
It's working with the athletes. And I know I said like I was trying to get away from working with athletes, but the cool thing about adaptive sports is it kind of offers you best of both worlds. It offers you the opportunity to work with a unique demographic that always keeps you on your toes, and you have to adapt everything because every single athlete has a different functionality depending on their disability, their injury level, whether um, like, and also like sport specific um, because of their different functionality, right? They're classified differently in their sport too. So those are things that you have to keep in mind when you're training them, because one person might be able to do a sit up because they have ab function, but another athlete that doesn't have ab function won't be able to do a certain exercise a certain way. So you have to come up with an idea of like, hey, how can I accomplish this movement and get the same training benefits with this athlete that I did with another one. So that's definitely my favorite part, just like being creative, and it changes every single day, because like I work with a variety of different athletes every single day. So
Yeah, that's super cool. I love that. So let's talk a little bit more about Brock and your experience at the university. What kind of impact did Brock leave on you personally and professionally?
Brock had a huge impact on me. When I first went to Brock, I was coming from high school, and I loved high school. And I was popular. I knew everyone, and I was friends with a lot of people. And then you come to Brock, and you're that little fish in a big pond again. So for the first year and a half or so, I was very much like introverted, didn't talk to a lot of people. I was not involved on campus, and it affected me in a big way. And I was lucky to get the advice of my parents and people at Brock to take advantage of the counseling services that are offered at Brock. Those personal counseling services changed my life. They basically told me to get involved on campus as much as possible and to become physically active again, because I'd stopped playing sports. So, you're gaining weight, you're unhappy, you're not getting those endorphins up. So you're just like sitting in your room studying. So they got me active again. And then that's what led me into working at Brock, which was huge. I'll talk about that later. And then also professionally, like we said, like the experiential learning, all the professors at Brock, the education that I got at Brock, would, like, if I didn't get it, I wouldn't be working where I am right now. So Dr. Kim Gamage, like, I owe her everything in terms of my experiential learning. Dr. Gabriel gave me an amazing education, like biomechanics. Oh my gosh, Dr. Anna Lenthrop, she's like helped me. She's like one of the people that helped me get the grades that I needed to transfer into kinesiology. I have like a list of like professors, like Dr. Rebecca McPherson, Noda Clentro, Patterson, and then the advisor Katrina Benny, Kelly Lockwood. There's so many amazing professors in that department that like touched my education in a really big way. And also the classes, especially when you get into like your later years, your classes end up getting nice and small. So you just have like an amazing relationship with your professors. You get to go into their office hours and interested in what you want to know, and they're there to teach you. It's a really unique situation. There's not a lot of schools that can offer that. So
Yeah, that's awesome. We're really lucky to have some of the profs we do, and it's awesome that they touched you so much. So our final question of today: share one piece of advice you would offer to future Badgers.
Don't stay in your room and just go to school. That is the worst thing you can do while you're in university. Like, it's not just university. Yes, it's all about like primarily you're there for academic purposes, but you can get way more educational experience by just getting involved on campus and doing lots of things. And it can also turn into a career. There's a lot of people that you even work with that their career is now very much on campus and ingrained with the university. So, and it provided me with all the experience and communication skills and everything to succeed in my life afterwards. I have a lot of classmates that were amazing students, but can get stuck into a rut after they graduate because they weren't really involved in campus life. Yeah, that's probably my main advice. I got a job. Like, I was a recruitment officer. That was my first job out of university, was working as a recruitment officer through recruitment and liaison, just traveling around, giving presentations to high school students across the province. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't get involved. So
yeah, no, that's a really great position. I really want to do that when I'm done. So that's awesome. But that's some really good experience. We're so thankful to hear all about your time at Brock. Thank you so much for joining us today.
yes, yeah, thank you for having me. And also, I want to plug the Paralympic Games. If you are interested in getting involved in athletics, get involved in adaptive sports, and make sure you watch the Paralympic Games for Tokyo.
All right, sounds good. Everyone take note. That's happening soon. All right, well, we'll talk to you later. Bye, Yunus.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, you can contact us by email at futurestudent@brocku.ca.